Good morning, everybody. Welcome to ShapeShiftDAO's Ops Sprint. I'm gonna get the link out there, sharing the screen. In 1 second. All right, the link is out there. I'm gonna wait for some people to file in.
Morning.
Good morning, Meg. I'm starting off with support.
Good morning, all of my DAO ladies and gentlemen. I'm really excited this week to announce, and I believe she's down in the audience as well. Donna is going to be taking over the weekly ops sprint for the customer support work stream. So in the coming weeks, you'll be hearing from her on Monday mornings, talking about all of the updates that are happening within the work stream. But for now, I'm going to run through our notes and then you guys will be hearing from her next week. So, new tickets the past week, just about 500. So, we're definitely up overall from previous months' averages. First reply time, 1 hour. Resolution time, about 4 days, which is about on par if you guys are paying attention to the triage channel and what Ops is doing and tracking what's going on with product. We have a few lingering issues, one of which has about 60 customers currently that are backed up waiting for a solution. And that's that. I mentioned it down here in number 3, the invalid big number string error. We've got 18 more reports of that just in this past week. And I know it's actively being worked on, but I think we're just still running into some issues and recreating last time I checked. But I don't know, Fox McCloud could let me know. One touch tickets, 54%, and total solved tickets, 426. So we're definitely behind on the previous week, and a lot of that has to do with these lingering issues. Active proposal discussions within the customer support workstream. For those of you that don't know, the We Foxed Up campaign is on hold right now until we figure out these gas costs. So that should hopefully be resolved soon by the new elected Treasury Committee. But I'm just putting that on hold. We're not in a huge rush, so I'd rather get these gas cost things figured out before we move forward. Also, we had a forum post going about reporting our data from support, and we just are happy to let you know that we're going to be offering our first data reports in early December. We took some of your feedback, tied that all in, and we're working with marketing and growth and gathering some more access to some app review accounts and things like that. And then the help desk redesign. So Mogi is spearheading this, and the goal is to make a beautiful help desk that flows with the rest of the shapeshift.com and platform and mobile experience. And for those of you that might have missed the discussion on this in the governance call, we average about 7,000 unique views to that each week. So it's a pretty popular resource and it is kind of ugly. So we're looking to give that a facelift. So if you have anyone you know who is into design, knows CSS, we're looking for them and they can reach out to Mogi or just post on this forum post to learn more. Thanks.
Awesome. All right, moving on to unified globalization with the Smith.
GN everyone.
GM.
For globalization, we are translating and proofreading over 40 Design Desk articles in Portuguese, Spanish, and French. So also our workstream teams debugging Bounty platform that that goes live, and we are aiming fit new languages and bounty hunters targeting Russian, Japanese, and Chinese communities. So we also had new candidates applications for Japanese and Chinese positions in our work stream and last week. So they are being onboarded this week by LPX. And finally, we are doing a great job with Hunt and his team. So now they'll speak Portuguese on several Web3 social channels. And that's it for now. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for the update. Moving on to marketing and growth.
Yeah, so we're holding meetings with a few interested contributors. We got one of three so far, me and Pete did. We're going to continue to develop the newsletter and content production project that I've going on right now. Latin American marketing is kind of like included in that. We're continuing to like drive social activity on Twitter and other like content distribution networks that we're developing. For a couple different teams. I'm doing like a little bit of development for content like networks and distribution. But the Smith has really done some amazing stuff. I can't give him enough props for what he's doing. Not only is he like going out and doing like what he can do, he's bringing people on and like really like delegating a lot of like extra work that he couldn't do solo. So it's really cool to see. We need to promo the One Fox and Icky proposal implementation, and we have an Elk Finance marketing opportunity being planned right now, and it will likely be executed. I don't see a reason why it wouldn't be. Toasty is working with a couple of the partnership opportunities or networking contacts and that he got in NYC NFT. I think he's exploring one that we made prior to that event, and then he solidified there. I'm not really sure. I haven't caught up with him completely. We're exploring community outreach and marketing opportunities. Miss is creating a spreadsheet for that. So I'm hoping to have like 200 communities to go jump into across a period of time and maybe like see what they're doing, like tip some Fox, like try to create some FOMO and some hype around that and just like navigate and see where cross community exposure could be like best placed because our human capital isn't necessarily like large enough to be reaching like all the communities that I believe like we could and should, but it'll come with time. So it's all good, and that's all we got.
Thanks for the update, Hunt. Moving on to CMODs.
Hello there. My main thing was my work stream is posted to the forum. I need to obviously post the link in stage chat here in a minute. I worked on a lot of the ban lists from different sources, so that was that took a little bit longer than I wanted to catch up. Obviously doing the verification stuff, and pretty much that's it for me.
Thanks for the update, Jankin. Moving on to product.
Thanks, GM everybody. As you guys know, our biggest pushes right now are Web V2 and Yearn. Hopefully we'll get started on testing on that shortly here. The product work stream is also hiring some PMs. We have a few candidates that are that we're in the process of interviewing, and we've given them some independent projects. So hopefully we'll get some potential PMs that will be working with us on a bounty basis, and then we're looking for one or two for a full-time basis. So I'll keep you guys posted on how that goes. We put up a proposal for an alpha version of ShapeShift with analytics. That proposal is on the forum. I'd love to hear community feedback and comments on that, but we're super excited for that. And then things coming up. Osmo, it wasn't part of the original proposal, but it is a piece that we need to work on. So we're going to be working on Osmo bonding, and then staking on Cosmos, and then on Juno. We're also starting to have early conversations around the open source mobile app from a UI and UX perspective. And then we'll be meeting with engineering to talk about it from an engineering perspective as well. And Willie Fox, did you want to, I don't know if you're in the audience, if you want to add anything about any conversations you've been having? And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Diggy. Yeah, product and engineering related. We had a couple conversations last week with IOTA and Near. These are just two of the protocols, two of the blockchains that we've talked to so far about this vision of building an open source wallet and an interface that any chain can come add themselves to. And so far, those conversations have gone really well. IOTA is interested in doing the integration with developers from their community. Near is more interested in putting up a significant bounty to incentivize anyone, whether it's ShapeShift developers or any developers in the community, to come do the integration. That's really exciting. Working with engineering workstream to put together the kind of the specs for both of these and to figure out when we'll be ready. But current plan is that as soon as November 18th, basically, we'll be ready for these chains to come add themselves. And we don't have all the documentation that we'd like to have to make this a great developer experience where one day any chain can just come add themselves without even talking in it, potentially, to our engineering team. But for now, the engineering work stream will plan to give them some support because we don't yet have all that documentation. And hopefully throughout the process of this, we can develop that documentation and make it more of a self-serve process. But yeah, really excited about that, and definitely in the early stages, but more details will be shared soon.
Great. Moving on to engineering.
GM, everybody. I'm just getting back. I was out last week, and it looks like the team made some really nice progress towards the V2 live. So that's our target for the bounty is a week from Thursday, the 18th. And so we should have quite a few components of that available for testing this week. So ops and the product team, please stand by to help, and anybody really who wants to jump in and test some things. And then we're also going to be working on, as a work stream in the DAO, the first payroll processing this week. Most of that will be on me, but all the work stream contributors will have to get all of their systems set up for themselves to receive the payroll and be able to process it and all that kind of stuff too. So those are trying to keep pretty much anything else that's not one of those two things as a much lower priority so that we can get that done and get live next week.
Yeah, I'm super excited to launch V2 and Yearn.
Me too.
All right, moving on to security.
Hey, y'all. Top priority this week is Web v2 secret storage work. I also received this morning Pendo code for review from them. We had a meeting last week and it went well. We still have some review process to do, and now that we have the code, we can start on that. I know that there will be some security review stuff required for the Itchy launch. I've answered a couple questions from their tech people, but I don't know who's coordinating that launch. So, but I'm standing by to help and do the review to make sure that they implemented the stuff in the proposal properly. The proposal for the responsible disclosure program is up on the forum as of last Thursday, I believe. I would appreciate any feedback that y'all might have, and we'll be proceeding with that through the normal governance process. Thank you for your time.
The update. From operations, Tyler is out for the rest of this week, and Lich is back. The training of Ron and Never Was continues. I will be setting up two calls for no-goes for ShapeShift V2 and Urine, so I'll be reaching out to stakeholders today to work on a date that works for everybody. And triage report, 11 issues, 10% increase from last week, and 3 prod issues, 50% decrease from last week. Moving on to tokenomics.
What's up, everybody? So right after this call, I think it's going to be just immediately afterwards, but please correct me in stage chat if I'm wrong. We're going to chat. Ron's going to give us an update on the Fox Bond Committee's latest recommendations for adjusting the rates on Olympus Pro, just part of the effort to optimize these rates and get to a really healthy rate of daily or steady bonding. Let me fix that typo. So hang out afterwards. Part of the proposal for this committee was that any changes would be run past the community in an open meeting. So that will be this meeting to basically share the plans and see if there's any objections to the Fox Bonds Committee moving forward with those changes. This week on Thursday, we have an exciting launch of One Fox token. So marketing has been working with their team to promote this. And also Beard is going to be adding a road to the Fox farming page that shows the APR and has a CTA that links out to the Ichi UI for minting and staking One Fox. Also, we're talking with them about their team potentially coming in and doing the work to make that UI UX native, just like it is for Uniswap on the farming page. That'll be an exciting collaboration. Also, this past week, we pitched the Fox Success Token to the first fund, and we got a 200 to 300K commitment if we fill out this round, which is currently $2 million for the Success Token. So that's pretty exciting. I think it's pretty rare that you have a 1 out of 1 ratio for pitching to funds. We'll see if we can keep that up. I think now is a great time for us to keep the momentum up and just talk to more funds. We also need to update the parameters on that Success Token because the Fox price has changed significantly since we first set it up. So yeah, if anybody knows of any funds that could potentially be interested in the Success Token, there's my calendar link. Feel free to just make an intro and even just schedule a meeting with them. Also, last week, the proposal for the Fox and Honey swap passed, and funds from both treasuries have been transferred to a joint multi-sig. So we're ready to provide liquidity on Honey swap with Fox and Honey. Also, due to the Fox price movement since this proposal was passed and created, there's excess Fox right now. So we talked with the Honey swap team, and the plan is to take that excess Fox that won't be able to be LP'd because there's 700 Honey there, and we'll LP as much Fox as we can to equal that, and there's going to be some leftover Fox. So we're talking with them about allocating that to a liquidity mining program to incentivize even further liquidity for Fox on X time. Also, we'll see a proposal for the Fox Rune token swap and joint LP, make it to official governance vote today. Keep an eye out for that and please vote. And also there's in the forum right now, there is a vote to elect the Treasury Management and Diversification Committee. Please check that out. We've got some awesome candidates, and I know Danielle's hoping to wrap that vote up soon so that we can move this through the governance process and get this committee rolling. And if you are interested in other tokenomics stuff, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much stuff going on in tokenomics, and it almost seems like there's more opportunity than we have bandwidth for currently. So we're moving these office hours to be every week from biweekly, and also tomorrow's office hours, Kent is going to be presenting his proposal to officially establish the tokenomics workstream and establish him as leader, and also fund the tokenomics workstream so that we can execute even faster and better on all of these exciting opportunities. And that's all for tokenomics. Back to you, Tyler. Oh, looks like also Danielle posted in stage chat she is planning to move this to ideation today. Stay tuned.
Awesome. All right, so we have some free time here. So if there's anybody has any questions on what was talked about, feel free to ask or raise your hand, come up.
Hey, I've got a question. That was super exciting to see that we had a commitment for the success token. Can you share more with who? Or are they trying to remain anonymous?
Yeah, it's with the OP Fund. If you check in the Tokenomics public channel, I posted a link to their fund. I can post another one in stage chat. But yeah, they're super cool. I got to meet them through Alex Lange in Lisbon. He was part of a fund that invested in ShapeShift Early Bird Ventures, and now he's part of his own fund. So he scheduled a cool meeting with like founders or members of projects as well as VCs, and that was one of the funds that I connected with there. We scheduled this follow-up meeting because they were interested, and presented the Fox token because I figured that was kind of the most relevant opportunity. And they had never heard of the Success token, but they liked what we were doing with ShapeShift. They looked into the Success token a bit more, and then when I followed up and said, "Hey, forgot to ask how much would you guys be interested in, and can we count on you?" It was a soft commitment, and I posted the whole chat right there in the Tokenomics public. But it was basically like, if we fill this round up, would you guys like us to save room for you? And they said yeah. So
That's
I think
so cool.
It's pretty exciting, and I think it just speaks to it's a good environment for fundraising right now. There's a lot of capital that these funds have raised that they're helping to deploy into projects quickly, and the Success token is actually a really good fit for them. It seems like it really aligns with the interest of the fund to maximize their upside and not necessarily protect against downside. And also, as you all know, great for the DAO because it also aligns our incentives there. And if the instead of giving out more tokens, if the token price goes down, we actually end up giving out less.
Yeah, for sure. Wow, awesome. Thanks for talking that up.
My pleasure. Yeah, and hopefully let's just line up some more meetings with investors. I think really that's just what we need to do here is just get it in front of these different groups, and if we can do it quickly, I think I have a good hope that we can fill this round out.
Great. So if we don't have anybody else, I will pass it off to Willie and Ron to discuss the Fox bond.
Yeah, GM everybody. I guess I'll give it a second in case anyone else wants to come up and talk. Does not appear so. So, Josh, I know you've been out, so this will be some catching up for you as you are also on the committee. We've noticed since we have implemented those initial changes that whenever there is a very large, maybe not max, but a very large bond purchase, that it is kicking it very far down the road for before it goes to a premium once again. And we had a call last week with Abby Pup of the Olympus DAO about ways that we can handle that. And there was two main things that were suggested. One would be to change the max bond sizes back to what it was before. So this will allow for daily bonding, and it would cut down our target of the bonds to get it to the place where it would get the BCV down more to a manageable level where it's not going to kick it from, like, let's say, I think the example that Hunt showed was it was at around 13 to 15% probably on Sunday last week, and a 25K bond kicked it down to like negative 55%. It took over 24 hours before it became positive again. And obviously, if we're waiting 24 hours between bondings, that it will take forever for it to kind of stabilize out. I think the number that Abby had given us was 48 total bonds it would take. So the thing that Abby suggested that we do is we move it back down to where it was, and then that will get the number of bonds needed down to 25, and then hopefully we'll see more of a daily bonding, and then we'll see that in less than a month be taken care of, and then we can start to see about 1.5 bonds per day is the goal, I think, in the long run. You can correct me if I'm wrong, or my understanding's wrong from that meeting, Willie.
No, I think that's right. I think your understanding is as good, if not better, than mine.
So the goal here is, or basically what's being proposed is that we move it back down so that way we can get the BCV under wraps per se quicker. Because right now it would take almost 2 months of daily bonds to get it under wraps, and this way it would be under a month. I think Abby had said it would be like 43 at this point. I haven't looked since our call on Friday though, so we could have seen some moves over the weekend that would bring that number down, but I doubt it would be enough to be significant.
So this would change the maximum amount, but it would keep the allocation at 3x. Is that the deal? Like it's just the max bond amount is the variable that is causing this to happen. Is that right?
Yeah, basically it changes the max bond size back to what it was before we made the changes, but it would keep the rewards where it was.
The allocation. It would keep the allocation at 3x.
Yeah.
It would move the max bond size back to 40,000, right? Is where it was.
Something like that.
Yeah. And that's because if someone grabs 100K bond, which is what we moved it to, then the amount then it has to wait a long time for other bonds to mature so that the next bond can pay.
Yeah, basically the premium maturity on it was taking a very long time, and it wasn't allowing for the once per day bonding because it was taking over 24 hours to basically get to a point, unless obviously there's a big price discrepancy, but basically it would take a long time to get to the point where it would be favorable for a bond purchaser to buy it again, which
So
is
do we know?
the goal.
Do we know like what would need to be different so that someone could buy a bigger bond and it not have such a negative impact on the premium for the next buyer? Do you just need more look, I don't know, liquidity
My
is not
understanding
quite
is
the right
like
word.
the more bonds that occur, the more that will settle down. So
Oh, I see. Okay.
So it's one of those things that the more times that the bonding happens, the less it gets put out of whack, and it adjusts as it goes.
That would make sense. The more bonds that are currently active, the less each individual bond would move that premium number. So you just have to start off smaller and we can gradually increase the max bond size, but we just didn't have enough activity before increasing that max bond size and we wound up blowing ourselves up a little bit.
Yeah, so basically if we had done this a month into the program and we had hit that target of whatever it was, I think 30 some bondings or something before it, I don't think we would have seen as big of a issue with our changes. But due to how we did it, it is causing this backlash per se on the premium as it gets hit it gets hit into the premium side instead of the discount. So
something that helped me really understand this that I did not understand until we talked to the Olympus Pro team recently was that let's say the discount rate is 10% and someone buys a Fox bond that's 100K and then it pushes the discount is into a premium, let's say negative 10%. I thought that like the bond purchaser would kind of get the whole area underneath the curve, basically. So they would effectively like be breaking even in that example. But actually, they get all of the upside. So they it's locked in at that 10% discount rate. Then it pushes it into negative 10%. So you can imagine, that if we cut that rate in half, now they would, it would push it down to 0% basically if they bought the max amount and it was 50K. And this approach is pushing it down to 40K, but that really helped me understand this and helps make sense why you want to have, more smaller bonds to make it a little bit smoother.
Yep, that makes sense. Okay, cool. Thanks for the explanation, Ron and Willie.
Is there anyone in the audience that has any questions or concerns about this that would like to bring them up or come up on stage and ask? Or if there's anything in the Ask Anything forum, GK? I know you said that you needed a minute between meetings, so I apologize if you stepped out. Okay, awesome. Gray's typing, so we'll wait for that. On an unrelated note, if anyone goes through the process of buying a bond, Gray could really use the screen recording process of that for, I believe, a video he's doing on the Fox bonds. So, using this as a public forum for that as well, to hopefully be able to help Gray out, so that way he doesn't have to go through that whole process once more. If you did not want to, not financial advice. Well, if there is no further questions, I know I am in support of making this change, so hopefully we can get the bonds into more people's hands. Josh, do you have any more questions, as you weren't here last week for that discussion at all?
No, I'm as clear as I need to be about this to support the decision to lower that max bond size.
Okay. If Hunt or Neverwas could hop up on stage and make a vote either in favor or against it, then we would have at least quorum, and we can make a decision. I believe Marley is out, so I don't believe that Marley could vote on this today, unfortunately. But I believe that will do it once we get that last vote in.
Yeah, I just never was. Yep, there he is.
Thank you.
Yeah, I definitely support this. I agree with getting the bonds in more people's hands, making this more accessible. Obviously, ETH gas has been problematic for a lot of people being able to make that decision, but I see this as a positive step in allowing more people to be involved if they choose to be. So, yep, I will vote for this to go forward.
Yeah, GK. Basically, what the point of this is when I wrote this in was for the so that way the community, even though ultimately it comes down to the community's vote, it is based upon community support, hopefully, and beyond. Like at the same time, we did just move them up, so moving them down so quickly it could be obviously unfavorable if someone was looking to grab one of the higher ranking ones. But at the same time, the purpose of the bonds is to help the DAO buy their own liquidity in the long run. So we were trying to do what's best in favor of the DAO. So that's kind of what the thought process was on the community call here. So I guess I'll do one last call for any comments, concerns, or support of this. And if not, I guess we can move forward with getting this transaction set up, Willie.
Hunt's got his hand raised, but I think he needs someone to bring him up on stage.
No, I actually just invited him to speak, and so it's green, so he could accept it and come on up, but because he's on the committee, so I just proactively invited him to speak, but something's going on, he's not coming up. So I think we got it. We got three yeses from the committee, so I think we're good.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, and if there's any support or against on the committee, that'd be good to know as well. But I think overall from last week, you and Marley were out, so we didn't feel comfortable moving forward with it until we at least had one of you back. So that way it didn't look like it was the community members on the committee trying to push something through.
Yeah, as long as Josh is good with it, I'm good. So.
Awesome. Well, then, Willie, I'll start the chat up in the ShapeShiftDAO convo about getting that pushed through. Do you know if Perklin is going to be able to sign off on that today, so you can get that in motion today yet?
I assume yes, but it's possible that he's just traveling today. But yeah, we'll get it queued up today and then get it ready to execute as soon as he's available.
Awesome. Great news. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, everyone. metaverse.
GM.